Have you seen the most exciting thing that has ever come out in food trucks, food trailers, or concession trailers? We have, because we build them here at Erwin Manufacturing, and we have several models to choose from. You design it, we build it, with things such as smokers, Blackstone griddles, cooking performance group fryers, Sante Maria style charcoal grills, freezers, sinks, and so much more. So watch this video as my dad, the US patent holder, goes over every component that we have on our outdoor mobile grills, how it works, and why we chose it to be a part of our trailers. Also, pay very close attention, because in this video we are going to give a promo code that will get you $500 off any model trailer.
So what are we waiting for? Let's get this.
During the 90s, while I was a firefighter, I studied thermodynamics. That is the science and the behavior of fire. I needed to do that to stay alive. But I also used that education and that knowledge to design the smoker that we currently use on the OMG. Let me show you a little about it. The first decision we had to make is what gauge of steel to make the smoker out of. Our three choices were going to be 3/16, 10 gauge, or 16 gauge steel. We did extensive testing to find out how much energy it took to raise each level of steel up to a certain temperature, and more importantly, how much energy it took to maintain that level. The reason that that's important is because in Texas, we do have an abundance of wood. It's easy to find, but in other parts of the country, it's very hard to find, and it's very, very expensive. In some parts of the country, you could spend $100 on wood trying to smoke $80 worth of meat. That just didn't make sense, and that wasn't going to be acceptable. So for this application, we decided to go with 16 gauge. It took the least amount of energy to heat up to temperature and required the least amount of fuel to maintain that over a 12-hour smoke. It was hands down the most efficient way to build a smoker. Now, in order to make the smoker function in an efficient way, we have to first understand the behavior of fire. There are a couple of facts that we need to keep in mind. First of all, wood is a Class A fuel. It releases a gas at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, a Class A fuel is going to need at least 14% oxygen in order to free burn. Anything below 14% is going to be a smoldering state. Just as a reference, the air that we breathe right now is 21% oxygen. Now, the smoke, or the unburned fuel, or for our purposes, we're going to call them electrons. The behavior is going to be up, out, and down. It is because of this behavior as to why barrel smokers work so well. We chose to use a vertical smoker and put design features in it that would make it simulate a barrel smoker. Now, before we understand the way a smoker works, we first have to talk about meat. Meat is made up of cells. Yeah, they're dead cells, but they're still active. Whenever you heat meat up, it begins to expand those pores, expand those cells up, and that's what allows the meat to cook. You also need to do that if you're going to try to get smoke to penetrate it. It's also worth noting that pre-seasoning or pre-salting meat before you cook it changes the molecular structure of the meat. And that's where the big debate comes in about pre-salting, not pre-salting. It really depends on the amount of heat that you're using, whether it's a good course of action for you. But the science is the same. You first have to use heat to expand the pores in the meat, and then you have to keep smoke excited to where it will penetrate the meat. In order to get smoke to adequately penetrate meat, you have to excite the electrons. How did we do that in a vertical smoker? I'll show you. Quite simply, it's the fulcrum effect. We put round holes in instead of traditional grates for a couple of reasons. Number one is traditional grates are very, very hard to clean, and they're a health department nightmare. The round holes excite the electrons, causing it to penetrate the meat better, but more than that, it also keeps it moving through the chamber, which is what we want. We don't want stale smoke. Stale smoke is soot. What we've done is, again, the behavior of fire, up, out, and down. The more excitement we have in the electrons, the more revolutions it's going to make in a single smoker. So how do you get multiple revolutions out of the chamber? Wouldn't it just go directly out the stack? Well, our stack isn't vertical to the top, it's on the side. The reason that we did that is because the stale smoke will work its way out because of the draft of the atmosphere, but the excited electrons will continue to move through the chamber. That's why our customers always are amazed at how much smoke that we can get with very little fuel and keep it moving all the time. Another unique feature of this smoker is you can see that the top 2 racks are perforated. They have holes in them, but the bottom one is solid because that separates the fire from the inside of the box. Now it can draft from behind it because it has holes in the back, or it can come up from the front, but it can't do a direct flame. I like this feature a lot because I like to cook with liquids, whether it's wine or apple vinegar. I will set it on the bottom tray. It will get that, the most heat from the flames coming up and causes it to boil or to, just to liquefy and keeping the meat moist with whatever liquid you choose. Or an empty tray will catch the juices from the meat and then steam right back up. A feature that this smoker does not have is a damper. I have spent a lot of my time trying to properly dial in a damper on other smokers. With this smoker, we took a lot of time, and you can see that we cut out the word OMG there, and that actually is the damper. Remember, we're trying to choke this fire down below 14%, and this achieves that. Plus the fact the OMG is a fully functional cooking apparatus. You have a lot of other things to do as well as dealing with customers. Using this type of a damper system, which is automatic and very, very closer than you would ever get it by spending time trying to dial it in, frees you up to do what you're out there to do, feed people. Another very unique feature about the OMG is that we take the Blackstone and we block off heat to 2 sides of it and force all the excess heat over into the smoker. That gives you a gas assist smoker. You can control the amount of heat that goes through there by adjusting the burners closest to the smoker. Depending on the atmosphere in which you're operating it, it will operate between 300 and 350 degrees without ever building a fire in it. Another great feature, and one of the things that makes the OMG such a versatile piece of equipment, the rack spacing in this smoker. The rack spacing is designed so that you can order from a restaurant supply company rib racks or brisket racks or corn racks, and they just fit in there and fold up depending on what you're doing. Sometimes you're going to need to change your menu to get into certain venues. The OMG, and specifically the smoker, allows you to do that. Another great feature of the side draft of this smoker is that it drafts the smoke away from you. You're working in very close proximity of the smoker when you're working on the griddle. You don't want to be inhibited by that smoke coming off of it, and you don't want your customers to be either. So with that side draft, it keeps both of those things from happening, as well as helps to keep rain out of your smoker. Is this the greatest smoker on the market? No. But it also didn't cost $15,000 for just the smoker alone. What it is one of the many elements on the OMG that is protected by the United States government patent office.
So if you're not sure if you need a smoker when you're designing your OMG grill, just consider this. You can use your smoker as a calling card. Put an onion in your firebox and your griddle, getting that flame in there. It doesn't matter if you're using your smoker or not. That's going to be a really great calling card. My dad always says smokers are like fishing lures. They're designed to catch fishermen, not fish. But you can see how the science and the design went into ours, and it's very practical. Be sure if you have any questions or comments, comment below, give our channel a like, share, and subscribe. And now we're going to go ahead and move on to the fryer.
Pecan.
Why the Blackstone Griddle? Well, to be honest, this is the first one that we ever saw when we first designed the OMG. But after over 700 put out there, we've had 0 issues with them. It comes with 4 burners, which allows you to create separate zones. Now, Any cook knows that you need to have zones when you're cooking. You need to have hot spots and cooler spots. You know, that gives you a lot of versatility. Has a 3/16 inch thick top to it, which is plenty to hold the heat in the metal. We've never seen one of these things move in the entire time that we've been using them. Now, we do modify the Blackstone just a little bit for our application, but in all the years we've been using them, we couldn't be happier. So we continue to use them and pass them on to our customers. The Blackstone at 60,000 BTUs cooks fast. If you've ever used an electric griddle, this one's going to shock you at how fast it is. Most of the time, I will leave one zone or two zones on low and the other two on medium, and it will keep up with the flow of food. And speaking of the flow of food, because you have so much cooking surface, you notice that we have a pan on top of ours. What that is, it is a mixture, in this particular case, of beef broth and water. You can use Worcestershire, or you can even use Dr. Pepper. Now, we're using this technique to anticipate a rush. Now, we're going to cook the hamburger patties in this particular case, and we're going to cook them to, half to 3/4. You can see how they're floating in there. That means that I hit it directly on. And then when the people come out and we get a rush, then we can bring them back and we can refire them in a fraction of the time. It's good to have a line at your trailer, but you don't want the line to be so long as it discourages anyone else from getting in it. And this is a trick that you can use, to keep the flow of food moving. Because the simple truth is, more people in your line is more money in your pocket. An advantage to the Blackstone having so much power is you can also use it as a cooktop. There are some times that I want to cook something that I just don't want to mix on the griddle, or I'm doing gravies or spaghetti, whatever. It offers you a lot of versatility if you just take advantage of it. Now, there are some of you who just cringe at the idea of grill management. Let me give you a couple of tips. We will take an ordinary putty knife you get at the hardware store, and you can use it just the way you buy it. But for my taste, I like to cut it a little bit. And I will use a spatula in one hand and that in the other, and it helps me to manage the grill pretty well. I like to keep the grill clean. Also, a trick I like to use is to cut an onion in half. When you're cleaning your grill with an onion, it keeps a real pretty glaze on top of it. It omits a smell that just keeps the customers coming.
Right here we have our 30-pound 2-basket deep fryer. It's great. It fits on these trailers great. It is also temperature controlled, so it doesn't stay running the whole time. You move your thermostat, set it on whatever temperature you want to use it on, and it'll kick on and off depending if you're using it right that second or if the grease needs to cool down or warm up. Also, when you're at an event, it's super easy to drain the oil before you have to move. You just screw this in to right here, drain your oil, and then you're not driving down the road with hot oil. How do you like this fryer?
I love this fryer. It's a great addition. It cooks a lot of fries. Fry a lot of stuff in this. Cheese sticks, funnel cakes. It's really a great multi-purpose good-sized fryer.
Whoa, time out. We actually spent a whole lot of time researching and agonizing about what was the perfect fryer for the OMG. And so now we want to take a little bit of time to tell you why we chose that one. We chose the CF30. It's made by a Cooking Performance Group. They have an outstanding reputation in the manufacturing of professional restaurant equipment. This particular model runs off of liquid propane, so it's compatible with the rest of our trailer without having to mix-match gases. It also holds 30 pounds of oil, and it is manufactured with quality. We have tested this unit in the field and found that it'll hold up. Its ease of use also was attractive to us. We also like the way that it drained the grease out of the front. Using good high quality oil with a high viscosity rate is very important in commercial frying. It's also sort of expensive, so you want to have a grease that you can recycle and repurpose and use another time, but you have to have the ease of being able to extract it. Also, this 30-pound fryer has plenty of power, 53,000 BTUs. Now, if you're not familiar with what a BTU is, it stands for British Thermal Unit, and it is the amount of energy it takes to raise 1 pound of water 1 degree Fahrenheit. The reason it's tremendously important to us is because you bring your temperature up to normally 350 degrees, which is what most things fry at. Whenever you drop a cold substance in it, like French fries or anything frozen, it's naturally going to drop the temperature of that grease. We want the power to get it back up to temperature very fast so that the food is not sitting in there for a prolonged period of time trying to wait for the heat to come back up. That gives us greasy food. It doesn't give us that light, flaky feel that we're looking for. We also like the thermostatic range of this one. And what I mean by that is that it'll drop a certain temperature before it fires back off and gets back up. In this particular unit, it's a very, very narrow margin, and we like that. I also love the fact that it has a striker to light the pilot light. That gets you up and going pretty quick when you're out there. If you've ever had to take a match and stick it in that wire thing and then try to feed it through there blind to light a pilot light, you'll know why I like this so much. They have added heavy-duty stainless steel burners, which prolongs the life of the unit. And speaking of stainless steel, they have heavy-duty stainless steel baskets. All that, along with the fact that it just really looks cool on the OMG, is the reason we chose this particular unit. A very popular feature on the OMG is the Sante Maria grill. And like all the features on the OMG, it is built with versatility in mind. Now, first of all, the Sante Maria is named for the 805 region in California. It's the first place that we saw a very crude version of it, and we decided to change it, to modify it, and to bring it up to a different level. Tab, can you slow down? I want to talk about it a little bit. Now, as you can see, there are 2 racks. The bottom rack is fixed. By design, the fire is supposed to go on that rack. Now, the reason is because when you have a fire there, all the ashes are falling away. That leaves you with clean burning fuel, constant temperature, and it's easy to add more fuel, wood, charcoal, whatever you're doing. While you're cooking, you don't have to disrupt it. You don't have to pull the grate off, set it to the side, add fuel, wait for it to catch, and then put it back on. And you don't have to clean out until you're done with the day. There are a couple of things to remember about ashes. Now, the Native American Indians taught us that they are a great insulator. They also draw in a lot of moisture, which is why it is very critical that you keep fireboxes and grills cleaned out, because even though it's dry outside, it will find moisture in the air and damage your equipment.
And in case you don't know how that works, it has the lever. So you can move your meat up and down according to what temperature you want to cook at.
One of the big benefits to having the Sante Maria is that you can drop the top grate down into the flames, get it really hot, and then bring it up, and you get those real pretty grill marks, and then bring it up a little bit more and cook a little bit slower. It's one of the reasons why competition people like the Sante Maria so well. Our version of the Sante Maria is made out of 10 gauge steel. It has gear mechanisms on it for smooth up and down transitions. And again, like all the pieces of equipment on the OMG, it is versatile. If you wish to start a fire in the very bottom and use 2 racks, that is always an option for you. Now, we've showed you several ways the OMG keeps food hot, but what about keeping it cold? Let's explore some of those options. We prefer a chest-top freezer over refrigeration for several reasons. Number 1, you can plug it in the night before and freeze it and then unplug it, and you're not required to have electricity or to run off your inverter during an event. Think of it like this. In Texas, the thing will last 3 days unplugged. Now, it won't continue to freeze, so you put food in it, refrigerated food, it's not going to freeze it. It's actually going to act just like an ice chest. So we get way more versatility for the space that we're taking up on the trailer by using a freezer, unplugging it. It'll keep the frozen food froze and then keep the cool food cool. Versatility. Another reason why we like freezers over refrigerators is because freezers have bigger compressors inside them. And because they have bigger compressors, they also have bigger rubber grommets that hold that compressor. So during the wear and tear in the course of the road, they last way longer than a refrigerated unit will. We also like this unit because the controls are right up front, easy for you to get to. We can also trade out hot wells for cold wells, mix and match. Just let us know when you call to order. Also, you'll find on the accessories section of our website a rear plug-in cold tray, which is a great addition to any trailer. Another great component to the OMG is the Char Grill. The Char Grill allows me to put marks on my food, put the real pretty grill marks on it. You can use charcoal, lava rocks, a wood chip tray, whatever you want. And let's face it, in the beginning of a cook is when you get that wood flavor, that charcoal flavor, that lava rock flavor. After so long, it doesn't matter anymore. So now you can just quickly move it back over to the flat grill to finish. That keeps the flow of food moving. Also, because of the large super burner that's underneath it, you can use this as a cooktop. This is made out of 10 gauge steel and has a very convenient control knob right in the front, which also acts as a striker.
Con.
There are two sink options available for the OMG. The first one we're going to look at is totally self-contained, 3-compartment with a separate hand washing sink. You'll see available on the Eli. Now we're going to start off with the tank. It holds its own tank for fresh water and for brown water, so there is no need to hook it up to a hose or to a sewer system. It is self-contained. The tank is made out of 202 food grade stainless steel. The reason that we use 202 stainless steel tanks is for durability. We don't want a rock or something popping up and going through a plastic tank. The 16 gauge tank is more than durable to handle any such impact. This unit carries 7 gallons of fresh water and 9 gallons of gray water. Now, the difference is gray water is defined as runoff water, like from a bath or from washing dishes. It doesn't contain sewer. That's black water. There is no black water on this trailer. Both the fresh water and the gray water drains are conveniently located underneath the tank. The reason that we did that is, say the scenario is like this. You're out there, you've been out there for a couple of days at the same spot, and now all of a sudden your brown water or your gray water is now full. You do not want to disconnect your trailer and have to take it to a dump. If you do that, you're going to lose revenue because you're going to lose customers. In this particular case, health departments will let you drain gray water into a bucket for proper disposal. But you have to be able to do that conveniently in order for that to pay off. This is your fresh water fill area. Just open the access door and you can fill your tank without ever having to move your trailer. We use PEX freshwater hoses for it for durability. Schedule 40 PVC pipe, and the whole thing is run off of a 2 gallon per minute 12-volt pump. Now you have two options when it comes to powering this trailer. You can use this access panel and an adapter and run a generator or plug it in to AC electricity. Or you can run the 12-volt battery along with the supplied inverter and run everything without any hookups. This is another option that we have for sinks. This one comes standard on the Chef and the Texan edition. It has 3 compartments plus a divider and then another compartment for separation of hand washing. It holds 7.5 gallons of gray water. This sink can be added to any of the OMGs and has been used to pass standards in health departments all over the United States. It's small, but if the goal is to get into compliance, this is a good option. You have to purchase separately a hot water on demand system. We like this Coleman unit a lot because we've used it for many years and it's always held up for us. The way it works is it drops a tube into your freshwater container and then instantly pumps out hot water demand using a 1-pound propane tank. Another thing that's available on the OMG is this 6-spot utensil holder. Now, you can put your knives, forks, spoons in that, to really move the flow of food. Also, if you wanted to not put perforated ones in there, there are solid ones available that can be used for condiments.
I'm a cook, and when I prepare a dish and I present it to someone and with their mouth still full, they can't wait to tell me that this is amazing, I get a certain sense of pride about that. Hi, I'm Tim Erwin. I am the designer and the U.S. patent holder of the Outdoor Mobile Grill. I'm also an efficiency freak. If you've ever worked on the Outdoor Mobile Grill, you know what I'm talking about. Everything has a purpose, no wasted space on this trailer. It is designed to feed a massive amount of people in a short period of time with minimal personnel, and it has been doing that in all kinds of situations all over the United States for years. We're kind of proud of that. But the thing that myself, Tabitha, and everyone else that works here at Erwin Manufacturing are the most proud about is the amount of entrepreneurs that we have put into business. The amount of people who are living and realizing their dream because of the product that we build here. But even greater than that is the success rate that they're enjoying, that we're enjoying. Over 97% of the OMGs that are put out there are still working and still being served by the original customer. You see, you don't see these things for sale used online because when people get them, they just hang on to them. And they hang on to them because they're being successful in their dream. They're living their dream. If you ask any of us around here, we'll probably tell you, it's kind of cool.
Now that you've familiarized yourself with our story like millions of others, head on over to our website, www.omgrills.com, and familiarize yourself with our entire lineup and experience a new way of serving. It's pretty cool.